too.
Toilet is the Jubilee?
Yovel is a jubilee, yeah.
I think that's just the
Yeah.
time.
The Y and the
You
J
could be
they
right.
change for Hebrew to English.
Okay.
Jerusalem is Yerushalayim. Judah, Yehuda, right? So the Yovel is Jubilee. Jubilee.
Oh, okay.
It's the Hebrew just said in the way the English would pronounce it. So. Next case, we're going to learn about Bati Arichayma shortly, but the way it works is that you only can you can't redeem it for 1 year. No, not that you can't. What is Bati? No, you only redeem it in the first. You can buy it back within the first year. If you don't, a house in a walled city, if you don't buy it back within the first year, you lost it.
Yeah.
So you only have that 1 year to buy it back. But that only applies. That only applies if the yovel is there. Otherwise, if the yovel isn't there, then you can go and redeem it even after that year.
Till,
I don't know.
so how do people buy homes in Yerushalayim?
Right.
Have like some variation of
We don't have a yovel now.
You're right, but that's the question.
If
you can-
kind of thing.
Maybe if they both agree. No, but then you can always
Actually-
sell it. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Only 7% of Israel can you buy. Like we buy property here where you buy it and you own it forever.
Right.
93% of the land, technically, you buy for in
99
a 49-year cycle.
Yeah.
As a practical matter, everybody discounts that to zero. In other words, everybody assumes that they will never have it taken away from
Property
them
turns
after
out to be a
49
lemon,
years.
you can, like a car.
Everywhere or just a walled city? I thought that.
Well, it's the other way. It's the opposite, though. That he wants it back. He sold it. He needed money. It would be like today refinancing. He sold it,
49
but then now he says, now I want it back.
He has to give the money
So
back.
but he can do that within the first year. He can force the person within the first year. Maybe it's the opposite. Maybe he can't even force within the first year. Maybe. Okay.
Can't be able right now to afford land in Israel.
Reb Shimon ben Yochai Yomer. You following? Reb Shimon ben Yochai says. Ein stei charam nayig en ela b'zman she'yovel nayig. He says the stei achirim only applies when the yovel applies. Shneimar vayasad b'tzeisa b'yovel kodesh l'Hashem k'stei achirim. That the field goes back by the yovel like a stei achirim. Shimon ben Elazar Eimer ein ger toshav nayig ela b'zman she'yovel nayig. Shimon ben Elazar says that a ger toshav, there's a rule of a ger toshav. That's a non-Jew that accepts to keep the 7 Noachide laws. He still eats non-kosher, but he lives in the land of Israel, and we have an obligation to make sure that he is sustained.
Is that when it says Vagir Hagar B'Socham is talking about the Ger Toshav?
I'm not sure if that means a
Because
ger.
I would think
or a-
real Ger Tzedek is then should
Right.
be part of the Bnei Yisrael.
Right.
Because
there may
Bnei
be-
Yisrael Vagir
But there
Hagar
may
B'Socham.
be a special mitzvah special for a ger, because we have a whole bunch of added add-ons that we need to
Awesome.
make sure that they're 36 times it says. Amar Rav Bibi, my timer. Rav Bibi says, how do we know this? That a ger toshav is only when the yovel. Asya toiv toiv. We learn it from the word toiv. Ksiv hachik toiv la yimach. Ksiv hasam toiv b'toiv la leisinenu. We learn from these from the word toiv applies to that he should be good with you, the ger toshav, and also by the Eved Ivri. Do you have the psukim in your Gemara? Does it say what the full pasuk is?
The full pasuk. Let me see.
Ki toiv la yimach is the Eved Ivri, and b'toiv la leisinenu I think is the ger toshav.
One of them is Vayaki
Yeah,
Amalek
Rashi
Ha'oel.
says, but the Eved Ivri says ki toiv la yimach, and it It says imach by the ger toishav. Okay, fine. So, what's our question? Our question is that we have stei acherim only applies when there's a yovel. So we have a kasha because we had this story in Pumpadisa with Rabbi Yehuda, and we had Ula's comment on it. He said what Rabbi Yehuda said what he has to do. He redeems it, and Ula says, "I would give it to the kohen." What's going on? It's only when yovel applies. Gemara says like kasha. Depends if it's property or movable objects. Movable objects applies always, that you can sanctify it, but land can only be turned into a cherem by the yovel. The Gemara says 1 second. Nami havi. But the story that we were discussing in Pumpadisa was land. So you didn't resolve the question. The Gemara says no.
Love that.
Land outside the land of Israel is like movable objects in the land of Israel. No, but the point of the answer is that yovel has no effect on movable objects in the land of Israel. Yovel only has an effect on land in the land of Israel. Now, yovel has no effect on land outside the land of Israel. So, land outside the land of Israel is like movable objects in the land of Israel. Yovel never had any influence over movable objects or land outside the land of Israel. So, therefore, it applies even if the yovel is not. Rabbi Shmuel, there's a Mishnah. Rabbi Shmuel says, Kasav Echad. See here, he's arguing. Rabbi Shmuel is arguing, even though they put him into a new Mishnah, but he's arguing on what was said before. So it got divided up, like we said, that the printer could divide these things. But Rabbi Shmuel, Mekasav Echad Takdish. One pasuk says, "You sanctify the bechar." Hazachar takdish l'Hashem Elokecha, right?
Right.
The other pasuk says, "Akasav echad lo yakdish." Lo yakdish is I say a person should not sanctify it, as a different sacrifice. So,
Lo yakdish ish also.
right. Efshar loymar takdish. You can't say that you sanctify it. Shrik varnam lo yakdish. It says you don't sanctify it. Efshar loymar lo yakdish. Talking about a bechar. You can't say that you don't sanctify it. Shrik varnam takdish says you should sanctify it. Okay, said, how do you do this? Makdishay ate hektish Eily. You add onto it a hektish. You sanctify it, but you pronounce it kodesh, even though it's naturally kodesh. You pronounce it kodesh. Rashi says what it means is that you take you give its value to the kohen. However, v'yachta makdishay hektish mizbeach, but you can't put on it another sanctity of a different sacrifice. We used this before. This opinion.
Is this like
This is a bechar. This is an animal that's naturally a sacrifice. Right, a firstborn animal is a sacrifice. It's born once it's born, it's considered a sacrifice until it has a mum.
I'm saying the bechor of a person is supposed to go to the Kohen.
Right.
So he's in a way like automatically hektish. So and then you pick him back. You give the money, take him back. Just sounds similar.
Here you're actually giving the animal to the kohen, regardless of if it has a mum or not. But you also sanctified it, and you can give its money, its value, also to the kohen, besides for the actual animal.
Oh, you don't get the animal back when you give him the money?
No. What we're saying is that you can
Kohen's
give both.
double dipping.
Yeah, what you're saying is that you can give both here. That's what we're saying. We already knew this from Stam Cherem. We learned it from according to the Chachamim, from Kol Cherem Kodesh Kedosh Mul Hashem, that we can sanctify even an animal, and then you have to give it a second time. You have to give its value. For Rabbanan, what do the rabbis do? They already know that you can do this. Al takdish mi boyle lalav. Takdish mi boyle. Al takdish tells me that you can't make it into make it into a different sacrifice. Takdish tells me something else. Look at the Tanya. Minayin leneilad b'char be'edrish mitzvah lakdishay. How do we know that if there's a person has a b'char in his property, that there's a mitzvah to consecrate it, even though it's already naturally consecrated? Shnemar hazachar takdish. To consecrate it, you pronounce it. Rabbi Shmuel, what does he do? Rabbi Shmuel, Eily makdish like kaddish. Rabbi Shmuel says if you don't say anything, it's kaddish anyway. Kedushasim mirechem av, it's kaddish from the womb. Even dechilei makdish like kaddish like tzarich lakdusha. You don't need to do anything. You don't need to say anything. You know the two brothers, Reb Zusha and Reb Elimelech. So they felt Shabbos. On Shabbos, they felt all the feelings of Shabbos, but they were never sure if they're feeling the holiness of Shabbos or if they're feeling the cholent and they're feeling all the everything else. Because the Gemara says that an animal that gores, it's possible that it's a muad just on Shabbos because it sees the strimel, it sees everything. So they thought maybe we're just like the animal. How do we know? So they decided to keep Shabbos 1 week on a Thursday. They prepared all Wednesday, and on Thursday they read the Torah. They wore this. They prepared a cholent, and they had it all set up. And they made like a ceremony for Abdullah. They did everything that should be like Shabbos, and they felt Shabbos. So they're very depressed. They said it must be we're just like the animal, because it's obviously the cholent. So they went to the Maggid. The Maggid told him, what do you think? If Reb Zusha and Reb Elimelech, they go to the mikveh and they prepare for Shabbos, you don't think Shabbos is going to come? So here, I'm telling you about the Bechar. I'm saying that it's sanctified anyway. The Bechar is sanctified anyway. But when you do something to sanctify it, you make it even more sanctified. Not like you can't add to the holiness of Shabbos. No, you can add to the holiness of Shabbos. You prepare for Shabbos, you make it even holier. That's the Chacham's opinion. Follow? Okay.
So all of these complications can be avoided if someone just says, instead of I'm giving this cow, I'm going to sell this cow and give what I get for it to the base of the right? Solve all these problems.
Right. You could avoid that.
Also, especially if you're a tzaddik, energy of Shabbat never goes away. Totally.
Right. So what happens on Shabbos?
What do you mean?
It gets more.
Yeah.
Okay. So Hamaycher Esadeh, right? Someone sells his field b'shasa Yovel during the time of Yovel. You can't redeem it until it's by the buyer for 2 years. You can redeem a field that you sell, but you have to leave it by the purchaser for 2 years. It says 2 years, the amount of 2 produces you sell it for. Let's say those years was bad crops. Shidafin, I'm not sure the words for it, but it's plagues and things, and the crops are spoiling and all of that.
In English, you say wind blast or yellowing.
Ishna Shvias. Let's say it's a Shemitah where you can't get produce from the land. You're supposed to sell it for 2 produces. Eino Olam min Aminian, that doesn't count. You need to wait another year to get the produce from it before you can redeem it back. Nara, that means you left it without plowing. Hevira, which one is plowing and which one is not? Nara maybe means he plowed it, but he left it.
Plow. No, but it's if he plowed.
And Hevira is if he didn't plow it at all, right?
We let it lie fallow,
yes. That does count. Why? Because that's his fault. It was a good year of produce. You just didn't do the right stuff. Nora, you didn't put the seeds in. Haviris, you didn't even bother plowing it. So that's his fault. Interesting. If he sells it to him with everything in it, all the produce is on the trees and everything, So the person all has to do is just harvest it, because he buys it right before Rosh Hashanah when all the fruits are there. So, but he still gets another 2 years of produce, even though he's really getting 3 years in total of produce. The first one he didn't work for. So it's 2 years of actual work and results. But here he's getting an extra one. You'll see, and then the Gemara is going to say that we could have thought differently. We could have thought that maybe the seller can say, I sold it to you full. I'd like to get it back full. We're going to see. That's not a good comment. A good a contingency. Okay. The Gemara says if someone sells his field at the time of the yovel, ain't a goyal. Ain't it goyal like tani? It doesn't say he can't redeem it. What it says is ella ain't a mutter legal. He's not allowed to redeem it. Alma kasavri isura nami ikka. There must be that we're dealing with prohibitions here. We're not just talking about that it doesn't work, a legal thing. We're talking about that there's actually ritual laws that you're not allowed to go and redeem it. So you can't go over to the purchaser dangling coins, making the clanking of the coins, saying, look, I can buy it back from you. You can't even do that. Not only the seller is not allowed to do that, even the purchaser can't go and hang around the seller asking if he wants to buy it back. Why? Because it says you have to buy it for 2 years and you don't have that.
It seems like a lot of these halacha are like kind of in the same spirit as the Jubilee, where
Right.
Hashem has control over everything.
Right. Very good. Very good. There may be similar things today, like you can't refinance a certain amount of time. Or there may be laws that are similar to these things. Itmar. Let's talk. What if someone sells a field in the yovel year itself? Usually you sell it before the yovel, and then if you want to get it back, you buy it back sometime before the yovel, right? Or at the yovel, it comes back naturally. Let's say someone sells it in the yovel. We're talking about a sold field. Rav Amr Mechura
Who did he sell it to?
Sold it to another guy. But in the yovel year itself,
I thought he doesn't know.
it's supposed to go back by the yovel. Now he's selling it in the yovel. So Rav Amr Mechura v'yetzer. Rav says it's sold, but it immediately returns because it's yovel. Goes back to the owner.
Only if it's a stay chutzah.
Yeah, we're talking about a stechuz that he's selling.
Oh,
Shmuel Amar.
This mission up here, I thought it was about the year of Yovel. It could be the 16th and the
birthday, guys.
17th year, right?
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's just
Yeah.
saying B'shas Yovel. It's not that this year is the Yovel. It's
Right,
the Yovel
right.
of
It's the
Noheg.
time that the yovel is like. Very good. Right.
Okay.
Shmuel Amar Eina Mechur Kalikar. Shmuel says it's not even sold. My time with the Shmuel. What's the reason for Shmuel? Kal v'chaymer. Ma mechur kvar yatsa. If it was sold already, it goes out. Sheina mechur nedin shlei timacher. If it's not sold, should it not be a kal v'chaymer that it shouldn't be sold at all? Well, the Rav le'yamrin kal v'chaymer ki agavna. The Rav says we don't say. This is a question. Well, the Rav le'yamrin kal v'chaymer ki agavna. Rav doesn't say a kal v'chaymer like this. But Tanya. Okay, let me leave this right here. I have to run. Sorry, we're falling behind a bit, but.
Okay, Jeff.